Welcome back to the deep dive. We're the ones who sift through the sources so you get the core knowledge you need nice and quick. Today, we're tackling something that's really shifted from being just a convenience to, well, a modern necessity. Securing your own power, your power independence. I mean, think about the risks now. It's not just, the lights flickering off. Our sources really hammer this home power loss, hit security systems, complex medical gear, even those smart HVAC controls. It shuts down work, communication. Suddenly, your whole smart home setup is just bricked. So the real question we're digging into isn't if you need backup power, it's figuring out which kind of tech actually fits your life.
That's exactly it. Yeah, we've synthesized a good pile of research here, really giving a solid head-to-head look at the two main contenders. The traditional generator, the old reliable workhorse, and the newer inverter generator, which is more like a precision tool for power. Our goal here is to arm you with the specifics. Wattage, noise, cost, how efficient they are, and critically, the quality of the power itself. So you can stop endlessly scrolling reviews and make a smart investment that, actually lasts and does what you need it to do.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Starting with that tried and true workhorse, the traditional generator. These have been the go-to for backup power for ages, right?
For decades, yeah. They're robust, generally reliable. They work using a pretty straightforward mechanical process. The engine basically runs at a constant high speed. Think of it like keeping the gas pedal floored in your car the whole time. They're built for one primary job, delivering a whole lot of raw power.
And the big appeal, looking at the data, is that sheer power output, especially for the price you pay initially. Spot on. If you just need the absolute maximum wattage possible, this is your guy. Traditional units are fantastic for powering, say, an entire house, big freezers, workshops, heavy tools on a job site. They definitely win for those brute force needs. And that budget aspect is huge, isn't it? If someone only anticipates needing backup maybe once or twice a year, during a big storm, well, that lower upfront cost is really attractive. We're seeing models starting around, $300. That gets you substantial power for a price the newer tech just can't match yet.
Definitely. Plus, that older design means they're often pretty durable, and you've got options for fuel. Gasoline, propane, diesel, natural gas, they can run on quite a bit, which is great for long-term fuel storage or hooking up to existing gas lines, a real plus in a long outage. And because they're mechanically simpler, maintenance tends to be a bit easier, maybe cheaper over the long run, too.
Okay, but there's always a but. Every time I talk to someone with one, the first thing they mention is the noise. That raw power comes at a cost to your ears, right?
It certainly does. A big cost. The sources consistently place the noise level somewhere between 70 and 90 decibels. So, to put that in perspective, 70 dBs is like a vacuum cleaner right next to you. 90 is a lawnmower, or maybe a really loud kitchen blender.
Oof, yeah.
If you've got neighbors close by or you're thinking about using it for camping, 90 decibels. People can hear that blocks away. It really limits where and when you can realistically run the thing.
And it's not just the noise. The other major drawback, technologically speaking, seems to be the kind of power they produce. If that engine is just running full tilt all the time, the output isn't smooth.
No, it isn't. That instability is what we call high total harmonic distortion, or PHD. Because the engine speed doesn't change whether you plug in a tiny light or a huge fridge, the electrical output fluctuates. So when a big appliance kicks on or off, you get these ripples, these surges or dips in the current. We call it dirty power.
And that dirty power is the risk factor for modern gadgets.
Exactly. It may damage sensitive electronics. Think about things with microprocessors, your HVAC system, smart home hubs, computers, gaming consoles, even some medical equipment. They really don't like those power fluctuations.
So choosing a traditional generator feels like you're consciously trading the safety of your expensive electronics for that lower price and higher raw wattage.
That's pretty much the core trade-off, yes. It's a great choice for, say, a simple well pump and maybe keeping a few lights on, but maybe unplug the laptop first.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Seeing how the newer technology tackles those problems head on. So if traditional is raw power, let's pivot to the inverter generator, the evolution, right?
Right. The inverter generator is really a product of the digital age, designed specifically for our modern electronics. It's a bit more complex under the hood. Instead of just generating AC power straight from the alternator like the traditional ones, it does it in 3 steps. First, it makes high-frequency AC power. Then it converts that into DC power. And then finally, it uses an inverter that's the key part to turn it back into really clean, stable AC power.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of steps, but that middle part, the conversion and cleaning,
Mhm.
that's what solves the dirty power problem.
Precisely. That whole process smooths everything out, resulting in power with very low harmonic distortion, usually under 3% THD, according to the specs we looked at. So think of the traditional power as choppy water, lots of waves. Inverter power is like a calm, smooth surface. That stability is why we call it electronic SACE. It protects all those sensitive things we rely on now, from phones and tablets to more complex stuff like security cameras.
And that safe power isn't just for laptops anymore, is it? Even things like new refrigerators or furnaces have microprocessors now. So running basic home systems suddenly needs that cleaner power too.
Absolutely. You could argue that choosing an inverter is kind of future-proofing how your home interacts with backup power.
Okay, let's talk about the feature everyone seems to love, the quietness. Just how big is the difference in noise levels?
Oh, it's dramatic. It really is transformative for the user experience. While that traditional workhorse is blasting away at 70, 80, even 90 decibels, inverter generators typically operate between 50 and 60 decibels.
And 50 to 60 dB is more like...
More like a normal conversation level.
Yeah.
Or a background hum in a quiet office. It makes a huge difference in residential areas or, campgrounds with noise rules. You can actually stand next to it and talk without shouting.
That practicality extends beyond just the noise, right? The efficiency sounds like a major plus, especially for people needing longer runtimes like campers or RV folks.
Yeah, this is where the smart engine tech really shines. Unlike the traditional generator running flat out, the inverter's engine speed adjusts automatically based on how much power you're actually drawing.
So if you're just charging a phone or running a small fan, the engine slows right down.
Exactly, it throttles down. And the data we reviewed consistently shows this allows inverters to use significantly less fuel, often up to 40% less compared to traditional models, especially when they're not running at full capacity.
40% is a lot. That translates to real fuel savings over time and obviously longer run times on the same tank of gas.
Definitely longer run times. And it ties into the other big advantage. Portability. Traditional generators are mostly stay-put machines. They're heavy. Inverters, though, are generally designed with mobility in mind. They're smaller, lighter, often have handles, sometimes wheels, much easier to transport.
Perfect for those mobile uses, camping, tailgating, even just easily moving it from the shed to the backyard when needed.
Exactly. And there's one more clever feature. Expandability.
Ah, right. If you buy one and later realize you need a bit more juice, you're not totally stuck.
No, that's the parallel capability. Most inverters allow you to link two identical units together with a special cable. That effectively doubles your available wattage. It offers flexibility. You can start smaller and scale up if your needs change without having to buy one giant expensive unit right away. It helps manage cost and weight.
So the inverter is basically the quiet, efficient, tech-savvy option, especially if you're concerned about sensitive gear or need to move it around. Okay, we've broken down both types. Now let's put them side by side, the ultimate comparison. We need those key numbers so you know exactly what you're gaining and losing with each choice.
Right, let's crystallize those differences using the metrics from the sources. Seeing them next to each other makes the decision clearer. First up, the most noticeable one, noise level. Traditional. 70 to 90 decibels loud. Inverter, 50 to 60 decibels, quiet conversation level. Big difference.
Huge difference. Okay, next, fuel efficiency. Traditional units just gulp fuel at a constant rate, no matter the load.
Whereas inverters adjust their engine speed to the load, making them up to 40% more fuel efficient, particularly at lower power draws. That affects your running costs and how long they run.
And portability. Pretty clear cut here. Traditional models are generally heavy, bulky, really meant for a fixed spot.
And inverters are designed to be lightweight, compact, easy to carry or wheel around, made for mobility.
Okay, now the big one, cost. This is where the traditional models shine, right? Lower barrier to entry.
Definitely. Traditional generators start around $300, maybe going up to $3,000 or more for really large ones. Inverters, because of that more complex technology inside, they start higher, typically around $500, and can easily go up to $4,000 or even more for the powerful, feature-rich models.
That price gap is pretty substantial. So let's say I only really expect an outage once a year, maybe for just a few hours. Is paying maybe double for an inverter truly worth it, or should I just put up with the noise for an afternoon and save the cash?
That's a really fair question, and the sources suggest it comes down to weighing the value and sensitivity of what you need to power against that upfront cost. If your work depends entirely on your computer staying online, Or if you rely on sensitive medical equipment, that extra few $100s for the clean power from an inverter might feel like very cheap insurance against damage or disruption.
Good point.
Plus, you have to factor in the long term. Those fuel savings, potentially 40% less fuel used over years, start to offset the initial price difference. The total cost of ownership might actually narrow quite a bit.
Okay, that makes sense. So this brings us to the decision guide. We can really pin down now. When should someone choose traditional, and when is inverter the way to go?
Exactly. Based on everything we've seen, choose a traditional generator if your absolute top priority is getting the maximum possible wattage for the lowest initial cost. So running a whole house, powering big, non-sensitive appliances like pumps or construction tools.
Yeah.
And if budget is the main driver, or it's just sitting in one place for emergencies and the noise isn't a deal breaker for you or your neighbors, you're basically optimizing for raw power per dollar.
Right. Raw power, low upfront cost.
Conversely, choose an inverter generator if quiet operation is really important, maybe for camping, RVing, tailgating, or just not annoying the neighbors. Yeah. Also, if you absolutely need to safely power sensitive electronics like computers, TVs, smart home devices, modern appliances, or if fuel efficiency and getting the longest possible runtime from your fuel is a critical factor, maybe for extended use.
Okay, so quiet, clean power, portability, and efficiency lean towards inverter.
Yeah, if we connect this back to the bigger picture, the choice really boils down to what matters more to you. Is it that raw, immediate power output and the initial price tag? Or is it the quality and stability of the power, the quietness, and maybe the long-term running costs? That's the core decision.
That distinction really clarifies it. We kick this off saying reliable power isn't a luxury anymore. It's about peace of mind, protecting against those modern vulnerabilities, losing communication, security failing, work stopping. So what does this all mean for you listening? Whether you go for the rugged, affordable workhorse or the quiet, sophisticated inverter, you're making a smart investment in your comfort and safety. It's about matching the tool to your specific needs.
And maybe here's a final thought to chew on, kind of building on that idea of fuel and runtime. The decision isn't just about the wattage the generator can kick out, although that's obviously key. You should also think about how the fuel type you choose and the generator's efficiency with that fuel matches up with how long you realistically expect outages to last in your area and what your situation is. Investing in power independence means looking beyond just buying the generator. You need to consider your fuel supply chain. Are you relying on gasoline, which doesn't store perfectly forever? Or can you use propane, which lasts longer? Or even tap into natural gas if you have it? Think about the logistics of keeping it fueled for potentially longer periods. It's not just about the spark, it's about the sustained energy source behind it.